This is a story about stories. Stories about the earth and the plants, about the cycles of seasons and emotions, about collaboration for creation. And essentially, this story of life is about gratitude and of being of service in the world. Welcome to my debut exhibition. My name is Orly. And as you can see, I'm a body painter. I've been body painting for the last 5 years, and I've been painting people into the world since August 2013. And over the last 12 months, I painted about 60 people into natural settings all over the world. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this journey, how I found myself painting people into landscapes and feeling driven to collaborate for this common cause of our planet. Thank you for coming. It's truly an honor for me to share my work with you all and to share these stories of these amazing people. These artworks that you see on the wall are more than prints. They are pieces of life, transformational experiences, real people with big stories merging in real time. Words can't really express what they mean to me, how much their stories weave with my own, and how much they have taught me about gratitude, grace, and compassion. I was born in Australia with Scottish, Polish, and Israeli roots. As a traveller of 13 years, I generally live in a space of impermanence and movement. I have spent most of my adult life as a visitor in other people's lands, and it is through this experience that I learn more and more what it means to be a visitor here on Earth, and that my heart feels most at home when I'm painting. One thing we can know for sure is that life is a mystery. In August 2013, only days after I had just broken up with the love of my life, I was booked for the biggest job of my life, a big corporate gig. Red Agency, on behalf of World Wildlife Fund, needed somebody to be camouflaged into a backdrop of sea turtles in the middle of Sydney's Martin Place, in the middle of winter, by 10 a.m. I was to prepare the backdrop, the model, the heating, the lighting, the setup, the time-lapse, and the sound system in 1 week. Needless to say, I had no time to cry. A little gift from Spirit that unknowingly spiraled me in the direction of my calling. The gig went well, but eventually the high wore off, because that kind of sadness can't be avoided. And so it was that the depths of my broken heart allowed me to uncover my passion for camouflage, also known as mimetism. I began to paint people into everything, and it wasn't long before I left Australia again. From Australia, I flew to my other home, Israel, and from Israel I flew to Peru. After 1 week in the jungle of Iquitos, Peru, sitting one-on-one in sacred medicinal ceremonies with a shaman woman called Madame Adela of 80 years old, I received a very clear message. The message was, paint. To be honest, I was a little underwhelmed. I had been expecting something more grandiose, and I already knew I loved to paint. But nevertheless, I accepted I had received everything I needed, and I made my way to the Sacred Valley. After finding my feet in that new land, after about 1 week, I put a message out to the Facebook community page that said that I was doing this project, and if anyone wanted to be involved, they could get in touch. Within days, I was inundated with people wanting to be painted into the world. It all happened very fast, and we created 17 pieces together in 20 days. I would wake up at 6 a.m, I would pack my equipment, meet a new face, learn a new story, climb the mountain, paint for 3 hours, climb back down, say goodbye, wash my paintbrushes, and edit until sleep. and wake up and do it this next day and again and again. So I painted all the way through my 30th birthday, and I was booked until I left for the US. The people that you see in these works are all people that I've met along the way. Some people I met just days before we painted, and some people I had known for years and they had been wanting to be painted for years, only to meet on the other side of the world randomly. But every meeting, from the process from meeting each other to production, is organic and unpredictable, as is life. And the production itself can be quite intense, as can be life. We usually start by climbing a mountain. And then once we found the perfect point and perspective, I balance my paints on rocks that are usually too low for comfort, whilst the person needs to hold stillness to the millimeter so that I can manually map them as a puzzle piece of the earth, and then just a little bit longer so that I can take the picture whilst balancing in waterfalls and standing very close to the edge of cliffs. Painting a breathing canvas into a living world has allowed me to connect with the reality that she is almighty, powerful, and temperamental. Everything can and will change at any given moment. Now is all that there is, especially for those 3 hours. We can't plan. Instead, it has become a significant part of the process to simply surrender and trust that everything will turn out just as it needs to. The spirit of nature can be understood as the Earth's underlying magnetic and reactive forces that we can interact with in manifesting reality. She's the real art director of this work. I feel like a conduit for painting, offering the opportunity for transformation. And the person who is painted has the opportunity to be the object of transformation itself. If we share the intention to recognize ourselves as a puzzle piece of the earth, then transformation can occur on multiple levels. On a personal level, the transformation can be quite intense, with all types of physical reactions coming through. The first piece that I ever painted, which is that one just there on the wall, as her face, Gaia, the second one across, as her face was disappearing, I said, "Wow, you're disappearing." And before I knew it, she had taken a nosedive into the sand and begun to convulse in a seizure.
Oh no.
This had never happened to her before, and she had no idea why she was lying on the sand when she came to. She was fine, and as the sun was setting, she insisted that we take the photo that we had been working towards, and so it is called Gaia. And this is just one example of many, many stories from these experiences. I can't account exactly for why people react as they have, and neither can they. All I know is that it is not uncommon for people to have quite serious responses to this work, but it's a very hard thing to do. So, Laura McDonald is a mountain climber. She's over there on the second, next to the volcano. She's a mountain climber from Australia who has been living in Peru for about a year. On the day that we painted, a miracle happened. I had waited until the end of that piece to paint her into the ominous sky because it was grey. I had wanted some sun and blue sky, but it started to rain on us. So instead I just frantically tried to paint her white. And after about 5 minutes, no more, we looked at each other in complete disbelief because the sky, it had stopped raining and the sky had opened up and it was blue and sunshine was above us, and something beautiful had happened that didn't require quantification or proof. It just was. On a macro level, transformation can occur through combining technology and marketing with neuroscience and spirituality. Though we see with our eyes, it's actually our brains that respond to images. And I've noticed that when people see the work, there's this look that comes over their faces when they register what they're looking at. And I recognize this moment from when I'm painting live and I see the person physically merging with the world. And it's this sense of connectedness that's quite hard to describe in words. As with marketing, we have this great power literally at our fingertips of being able to impact the masses through creative output. And we can see this law of attraction working directly as we engage with the things that we see simply by clicking like. And engagement begets engagement, and attraction grows exponentially, much like the ripples of vibration at the molecular level of consciousness. And so it is not unlikely for me to, I recognize the potential for transformation through art and imagery on a global scale. Having just arrived back in Australia about, 2 months ago, I have been struck by a vision that's so big that I don't really know where to start, but I thought I'd take the opportunity to tell you about it here and see what comes from it. My vision is to collaborate with First Nation Australians from all over the land in telling stories through art and creating a series and hopefully a documentary that celebrate the spirit of this red land and hopefully open the eyes and hearts of its citizens. The message is simple. We come from the earth. We are connected to the earth. We need her for our very existence. And in the end, we will all be returning to her once again. Thanking everyone for being here today. Thanking Barinja for having me. I have to acknowledge thank you to Michaels, who donated 50% of the cost to the printing towards collaborating, because all of these artworks are printed on bamboo paper. So they're all nearly 100% sustainable. They're 90% bamboo and 10% cotton, which makes them pretty much the most sustainable paper that could be out there. So it's pretty amazing. And I have to thank a few people, my amazing family who support me to come all the way from Sydney. And everyone who contributed and supported me with this Indiegogo campaign, thank you so much for being a part of that. Laura McDonald, she has been an absolute angel, and she connected me to another angel called Jane Saunders, who has been so amazing and has actually been putting together a 3-minute documentary for ABC, so hopefully that will be aired soon. And lastly, my thank you to Craig Tracy, who he's the papa of body painting, as he's known, and he is a good friend of mine. And I just want to say to him, thank you for seeing me so that I could see myself through the eyes of the world. And thank you again, and have a great time. Enjoy.